There's nothing better than hitting the go live button on a Monday when there's a victory, an Eagles victory that's happened after this. Man, let's break it down. Bye week up next. This is Victory Mondays. Come on in.
From the city of brotherly love. All day, baby. You know that.
Let's hunt.
If we don't come together right now on this hollow ground. Where are you going? I'm going to pick a fight.
Get the stuff there. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is that why you are here?
Let the games begin.
This is where we hold them. This is where we fight. This is where they die.
Money is nice, championships are better.
Welcome, everybody, back for another episode of Victory Mondays. I am the host, the CEO. I'm the player. They call me Moss Money. Of course, I got my guy with me, the GM. Ernie B, what's up, bro?
What's up, man? Fly, Eagles, fly, but will it continue after the bye? I mean, that's the question there. That's what I was working on there. That's what I was.
That's what you was working on? That's what you cooked up for me?
That's what I cooked up.
I like it. But hey, we are here. You guys are here. Again, Victory Mondays. I love saying that when there is a victory on Mondays, where BTA was the deal on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Returning the favor, getting punched in the face, getting back up, and delivering our own knockout blow to those New York Giants. Beating that ass. 38-20, was it? 38, yeah, 38-20. Man, lot to unpack, though, right? There's a couple things that we want to get into. We always start with our takeaways. We always start with kind of the theme of what we saw from the game, and then we kind of go more in the depth of the in particulars. But again, Eagles 6-2, looking really pretty. Want to say tops of the NFC at this point. I'm not sure if I'm really scared of anybody. I don't know if that Packers game was pretty impressive. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I saw the numbers. And they look pretty good. I mean, Parsons is balling. So I think it's really a two-man show in the NFC. I guess I can't forget about Detroit so much, but I would say, with some of the Detroit injuries on defense, I would say it's probably the Packers and the Eagles at the tops. But let's get into it, man. First takeaway of this Giants game. Got to go to my guy. Got to go to my man. He's my number one takeaway, and that's Jalen Hunt doing big things. Saw this on Next Gen. You know how you see the chart of the receivers, you see the charts of the quarterbacks. Somebody took the time to give love to the big sexies up front, and that is Jalen Hunt's doing work. Recorded 1 sack, generated 9 pressures on 22 pass attempts, almost 50% pressure rate, which is insane. I believe this was his best game, in my opinion, of his young career. He should have probably had 2 sacks. Just had the one, but he should have probably had 2 sacks. The 1 sack that he got, the 1 tackle he got on Dart was at the line of scrimmage, right above the line of scrimmage. But still, I take it, a lot of pass rush kind of got there and home. The pass rush in general, I think we had a career, not a career high, a season high of sacks that game. I think around 5 or 6 sacks for that game, and I think Jalen Hurts led the way. Second game in a row, he's made a difference in the game. And we were talking about this behind the scenes. Karan kind of reminds me of Josh Sweat. If y'all remember, Josh Sweat was streaky, right? He wouldn't disappear, but he wouldn't have sacks for like 2, 3, or 4 games. And next thing you know, he just built up sacks. 1 sack, 2 sack, then maybe down to a half a sack, 1 sack. Kind of reminds me of Hunt a little bit here in terms of his production, where can he start to string together multiple games? And not even that, probably BG's coming back, right? So you get another kind of dog up there to kind of pass rush on the other side, so he might not get the focal point. But I was really impressed with the way Jalen Hunt played yesterday. And, man, what a complete player in terms of a chess piece that you can have. A guy who can rush the passer. We saw last week a guy who can get back and drop in coverage, take it to the house for somebody his size. I think he was he an ex-safety? I think at one point. You know, so he probably still got a little bit of wheels to him. You know, and a couple other plays, right? I think what game was that? He had a defense on the sideline. I think was it against a running back or a tight end, where you know the guy made the catch, but he was there, like he was able to play coverage. I would have to go back and kind of jog my memory, but man, shout out to Jalen Sunday. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me. I'm biased, being an ex-defensive lineman myself, but hey, I think he kind of showed out on defense a little bit and kind of was the one guy that to me that kind of flashed for my top takeaway from that Giants game, man. What you got for me, bro?
I mean, let me just touch on the Jalen thing a little bit.
Sure.
I think the big thing about Jalen Hunt, and this is probably one of the better Eagle investments via draft in the past few years. Mylotta is the best story they have. A non-football player turned, rugby player turned football player, 7th round draft pick, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
We all know that story. Josh Sweat's story, while it was very successful for the Eagles and has continued to the Arizona Cardinals, Josh Sweat was a number 1 high school player who suffered a significant injury that resulted in him having not quite the career he thought at Florida State, turned into a 4th round pick. Eagles took a chance on a guy that was supposed to have a degenerate knee, continued on to get paid by the Cardinals. I think the trajectory is similar to the player, but I think that the ceiling is so much different because of Hunt's situation. I would agree with every aspect of this, up to the point of they're not built the same, but they play similar. And I think that their play style results in them being streaky pass rushers. Because of his exceptional bend and his ability to drop into coverage, his hips are just, the flexion that he has is elite. And I think I can say that with confidence, is that he has elite hip ankle flexion, which allows him to bend the edge like some of the top pass rushers. Which you're talking about a guy that just picked his toolbox up a couple years ago. He doesn't really know what to do. He hasn't quite gotten to the bottom of the toolbox yet. There's some wrenches and some screwdrivers in there he has not picked up.
Yep.
And I think we're seeing that. But we're watching a kid who played safety at Cornell, transferred to Houston Baptist, became a pass rusher, was drafted in the 3rd round, and kind of thrown into the fire last year during the Super Bowl run because of BG's injury. And now, the beginning of the season, they put a lot on his plate, and it looked like too much. It looked like he couldn't handle this. It was like, oh, here we go. They done botched another development story. But they haven't. Look at what he's done the past 2 weeks. Last week, pick 6, showing off that former safety ability, showing off that coverage ability. Yep. And if you notice, he sat down in the zone perfectly. I mean, he was essentially another off-ball linebacker on that play with the way that he covered the zone. It might look simple. He just dropped into a pocket, ball was thrown to him, but he caught the football, took it house. That was next-level play from a defensive lineman. Now, because he has this safety background, I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh, he should be doing that. No, man, that is an awesome play. And the fact that he was was rushing the passer with the success that he had. I mean, Andrew Thomas is not a snub left tackle.
Yeah.
The Giants' offensive line has been bad in years past, but it has not been.
It's getting there
this year. It's coming together.
Yeah.
I just thought Jalix played an elevated game, and I think that we were looking at Brandon Graham last week as this desperation phone call. I don't think it's the same. I think that, like you kind of touched on, this is an added luxury. We're now getting the guy that can come in and play 25 to 35 snaps of pass rush or run stop football. He can play both. I would say that we're probably going to see more of Brandon Graham hand in the dirt as opposed to anything else, because that's what we lost in Zadarius Smith. They still have stand-up pass rushers. The play that you were talking about had me think about the Patrick Johnson play, where Scadaboo scored the receiving touchdown, and I saw 48, and I thought that was 58, but I was like, he still got the sleeves coming down, but the skin.
He got tripped. He got tripped on that play.
His skin was a little light, so I was like, that's not Patrick. I was like, that's Jalen Hunt. That's bad, man. I was like, that's real bad. But I saw it was Patrick Johnson. I was like, all right, I'm not going to give that to Patrick. He doesn't have a safety background. So I if Hunt would have let that play up, which obviously he didn't, but it would have been a little different. But I think Hunt played great. My first thing that I want to bring up, and this is touching on the defense, we're going to keep it with the defense. How about the effect that Nakobe Dean has had when inserting into this defense?
Yep, I agree. I think that was a good 1A, 1B. It was between that and Dean. Like Dean is Dean the green dot again? Is he back to being the green dot?
No, it still Zach Bond. But that's with Bond playing Will, Dean playing Mike. So he's gotten that back. Could I see him take the green dot? Maybe, but I think it's going to be Bond just because relaying the message is easier because he can be there on every play. But Dean and Bond were the two inside linebackers with Campbell on the edge in base. So in base, that was Campbell and Hunt on the edge.
Yeah.
With Cooper DeJean on the outside, Bond and Dean in the middle. I think that was almost what we were sold on draft night. I mean, the team sold us on this idea that this guy was a pass rusher. Stop talking about linebacker, blah, 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 blah. We go through training camp. He's playing linebacker, OTAs, training camp, preseason. He's playing off-ball linebacker. We were kind of sold on this Abdul Carter, Micah Parsons movement player. This is from Roseman himself after draft night, especially after the first round when he did his first press conference. And it was about the versatility of the player. We haven't really seen that yet until Dean came back. And all of a sudden, Campbell can go to the edge, and I don't think he looks bad on the edge. I thought Campbell has played well. He's undersized at the moment.
I haven't really seen him. Like I haven't really noticed him at all.
That's a good thing, not a bad thing. Because if he was that porous out there, you would notice him. He's at least setting the edge. He's doing what he has to do. It's not sacks that are happening here, but I mean he's coming off the defender. He's making good plays. They're clogging the lanes. That's all you can ask for.
Most of them cats don't have pass rush moves. You know what I mean? Like they just go up there like they did in college, raw talent. They don't like the key thing about being a good defensive lineman, especially in a pass rush situation, is have a plan. Like, you got to have a plan.
Hands, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
people
that's
talk
the
about
thing.
Jalen Carter's exceptionality. I mean, his exceptionality, you can get into this, is just the way he uses his hands.
Well, he's got heavy hands too. Like,
and they're so violent. But you would think the offensive lineman would adjust after the first time he sees it, but they don't because they can't keep up with it.
Some people just got mitts, man. Like when you meet some of these guys, like Brandon Graham, like if you ever shake his hand, he's got mitts.
Oh, mitts.
Yeah, he's got mitts. You know what I mean?
Fletch had mitts too. He was
like you don't want to get punched by that guy.
No,
you know what I mean? Like
you could say the same for offensive linemen too. Lane and Landon, Jordan. I mean, Jordan's just a supersized human being, but the somewhat human-sized people, Lane and Landon, dude. I've met Lane Johnson a couple of times, and that dude is just I'm 6'4", dude, and I look at him like, yeah, dude, you're built different. Like this is just
these guys are built different. I mean, they're in the league for a reason.
It's crazy to think about, but you look at a guy like Campbell, he's still got that rookie body in my sense. He looks like a preschooler, playing up.
He's not built like a grown man in the NFL yet. I give him that, but
he's playing at like 220. If I had to guess, I would say if they list him at 235, he's 225. If I had to guess.
Yeah, it's a different type of weight. I mean,
but he looks bigger than Josh Uche, who Fangio trusts on the edge, and he's tiny. He's got a bigger upper body, but I think Campbell has room for growth.
Uche's a vet too. It's a grown man playing.
He's only 26 years old. I mean, he had one rookie contract. He's a vet.
I mean, you're 4 or 5 years deep in the league.
But Uche's not. I mean, we're on to him out of necessity, not.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying like 4 to 5 years in a program. Like you got.
Yeah, but Campbell, Uche had success the 1 year with Bill, but Belichick with the Patriots. But then post.
Yeah, what was that? Was that what he had 16 sacks or something like that? That 1 year?
11 and a half, I think, 3 years ago or something.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, Campbell is. I want to get this out. The guy has the ability to grow into his body.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can look at was Dean going to grow into his body? No. Is Trotter?
But he did though.
Dean got bigger.
Dean got thicker.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. Trotter Jr. got thicker too, but they're not. They don't have this. The way Campbell's built is he's never going to be Micah Parsons big, but I think he could put on 15 pounds, and I don't think it really is going to alter the way he moves. Right. I think he's that fluid in his movement. What I was saying about his edge rush snaps, I just think that I don't think that's the end-all, be-all answer for the player, but I think that right now, Bond and Dean play off each other so well.
Yeah, they just play. Yeah.
Campbell's too important of a player for the future to take off the field. You can't take snaps away from the player, and you can't ask him to go play special teams. So if he can have these edge snaps and maybe play coverage on the play, or if he just rushes and sets the edge, I'm fine with it, man. I mean, he might get a sack or two. That's fine, but that's not what I'm expecting from a guy that's playing this many positions in his rookie year.
Yeah, no, I think at this point, I would go here. Right. I would say Dean.
But I think I would have said that going into the year. I mean, I think that Dean is
agreed.
You have a 4-year veteran versus a rookie.
But now that I saw Campbell at inside linebacker, and he showed me flash, but like you said, there's a different tone when Dean's back in there.
It's a different.
It's a different feel.
But he has had this effect on this squad for years, man. As long as he's been with this team, even when he's out, he has that Brandon Graham effect. If you want to talk about a closest player to BG on this roster, offense or defense, I'll give you Nakobe Dean. He is the one man that's
high praise.
When he speaks, they listen.
That's high praise.
And if they choose to retain the player amongst past this year,
I think they will.
I would have to think so, but
he's not going to cost too much.
I don't think so, but I mean, I think that this guy is essential to the way the locker room runs, and I think the Georgia guys, as corny as it is to say, I think they play better when he's at the helm. And I know you've heard his pregame speech. Yeah. I mean, this guy could make you run through a brick wall if you were,
No,
if you're in that room.
Agree.
I mean,
I think it's kind of cool. Did you see the pregame thing with Jalen doing the slow clap? It's a little corny. Okay, come on, bro. You can do better than that. We not in grade school with the slow clap. You know what I mean? High school.
He's starting to turn into Russell Wilson by the day, but that's a conversation for another day. But he is, man. He is.
Yeah, I can see that.
Jalen might be the cool Russell Wilson at the end of all of our stories.
He might be.
That might be all it is. He might just be
that hoop's got diamonds in it now.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's
as long as he keeps winning, he can wear it all he wants. I don't give a shit.
It's not even that BG wears them too, but I can't do the male rompers. I'm just not built for anything like that. Like I can't get behind it. Like I don't have a compact build. I'm long and lanky. To wear one piece is just that gets me going. I'll be honest with you.
So are you on the same board with Jalen's Hunt as your main takeaway, or were you somewhere else? Or you were looking at the defense?
I would say the Hunt-Dean combo. I think it's a good way to say it.
Okay.
The arrival of Jalen's Hunt these past couple weeks, but then the return of Nakobe Dean is the way I word it.
Yeah, no, the defense feels different. It does. And not even that, it's starting to even start to, like, now they're starting to settle in.
Well, Sean Desai said a couple years, when he was the DC in 2023, he had a quote that went viral in the offseason, in the preseason, where he said that he wanted the defense to be palpable. And I think that he was right in that sense, which he wants people to feel the defense. And I think that last year they handled that the best that they have almost in my entire life. And this year they're starting to get back into it.
Yeah.
They're hitting people before they get hit. Is a bad way to say it because they're on defense. But you get what I'm saying. They are setting the tone with their aggression.
And that's kind of what I said. Like when Dean came back, the tone changed.
It did.
Yeah, it came a little bit more physical. And now you're going to get physical guys back to add to that. BG, physical guy. Nolan Smith.
Your boy Nolan Smith.
He is, but he plays a physical game.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to get that tone back. And I think you're going to see this defense on the second half of the season really take a different tone. And I think they're going to turn up just a little bit. And this goes into my second takeaway. And I'll bring this guy up here. Beautiful picture. Look good, making some long runs. But it's not about Barkley in the long runs because we know what Barkley is. We saw that last year.
We've said it as a show. It ain't him.
Right.
He didn't just lose it. The knees aren't gone. The ankles are still there. He didn't have to run the football.
The one takeaway is that even before the groin strain, he didn't look like he was opening up when he was running. Like his legs looked tight when he was running. And maybe that's just because he hasn't had that type of run in a while. So when he got open, he didn't really kind of open up the stride a little bit. But that's neither here nor there. That's just an old football player watching football. But what I saw in this game was the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles running the ball, gashing players, because he wasn't the only 100-yard rusher in this game, mind you, by the way, who looked better in between the tackles than Barkley did.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest.
Yep.
Hurts being efficient in his passing.
As always.
Us getting after the quarterback. Right? So my whole takeaway from my second takeaway from this game was that we look like the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was how I felt when I watched this game. And I understand with Scatterboo and the ankle, get it. It completely deflated the New York Giants in all. Right? And I get that. But we didn't take our foot off the gas. We didn't take our foot off their necks. We added more pressure. And that's what I like to see from my Philadelphia Eagles and your defending Super Bowl champions, was being able to keep the pressure on. I mean, what was that? 3rd and long? And they just said, hey, let's just throw a bomb to Dotson. Let him go get it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean. Attack, pressure. And that's what I saw from the Philadelphia Eagles. And he was a catalyst of that with that big run. Nice little jump cut to the outside and go up 60 yards, and we're off to the races. And they were just no looking back. So like I opened the show, get punched in the face. Okay. Now we go back and punch you back, and we make sure you don't get back up. And I think that's what the Philadelphia Eagles did, and just put the whole league on notice. Like we saw with the Kansas City Chiefs not too long ago, the Eagles put everybody on notice that we are the defending champions, and we can beat you in a multiple ways. I think there's a thing going around. I think you sent it. Let me see if I can get it. Trying to blitz hurts. It's just not working.
No,
it's not working.
Worked in the past. Worked in the past, but it's not working right now. I think one of the big things too, you were talking about, gas pedal. Hurts seemed upset when he got pulled from the game. I mean, again, which he always seems to be, but he had a little attitude there, and Sirianni kind of patted him on the chest, like, "Look, bud, we're going to the bye week. It's going to be all right. Let's make sure everybody's green light here. It is what it is." Real quick, while you're pulling this up, I got to give a personal shout out and a personal apology to my man Brett Toth, because
he looked good.
Center snaps all week, ready to go, not just a plug and play center after an injury. Yeah. And man, they were pulling him like they pulled Kelsey back in the day. They were pulling him like they pulled Juergens last year, which tells me that Juergens is not 100% at all. He might be closer to 60 than anything else. But man, Toth on the move, he looked fantastic. He was aggressive. The offensive line was violent at the point of the attack. They ran off tackle more this game, which has been one of our gripes, is that they continue to run inside zone. And who would have known there is an outside zone play in the playbook?
They did it a couple times.
It's funny that we continue to succeed the way we do, and yet all of a sudden, where's the Kevin Patullo hate? It was all about Kevin Patullo's tearing this team apart. City of Philadelphia, blah 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 blah. Where's the praise? I mean, this guy, the offense, whether you want to give Patullo credit or the execution of the players, I mean, this offense has been on one coming out of that mini bye and that loss to the Giants. They have I think they've called more obscure plays. And I mean obscure by not trick plays or anything crazy, but they have looked more like a well-defined offense and a whole offense than they have where they've looked like a fraction of themselves at times since. And I want to put one note up there real quick. They looked like this going into the playoffs last year. And we all didn't think they were going to just walk to the Super Bowl like they did. They did not walk. They beat the Packers, dogfight versus the Rams, blew out the Commanders, blew out the Chiefs. But the run and the pass were not synced perfectly until the NFC Championship game. And so as fans, we have a recency bias. So the championship game and the Super Bowl, we held that to a standard for the beginning of this year. And I think right now we're looking at a passing game that's been more efficient than years past. I think this is better than it's been in years. I think we're looking at the closest thing to 2022 we've seen from the pass game.
Yeah, no, I agree. We got some kids coming in here, man. Little G, Carter, so cool. Appreciate y'all youngins coming in, talking Eagles football with us. But like you said, yeah, the blitz over the last 2 weeks, 21, 25, 354 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and a perfect passing rating on 158.3 in terms of his passing rating. When I saw this earlier today, I saw the Jalen Hunt thing. I saw everything coming together, from the Philadelphia Eagles standpoint. In my head, I'm just like, man, we are tough out. We really just have to be off. Jalen has to be off. Defense has to be making mental mistakes. It's going to be a hard time to beat us.
If they believe in themselves, they are going to be a very dangerous football team come playoffs.
Especially if this is a prefix or pretense for the run game and getting back to those fits. And if we have a 1-2 punch with Tank, where we got a guy who can run, outside zone and stretch plays and tosses and Saquon. And then you got Tank who can do the same, but is a better inside runner for whatever reason at this point with those fits. Maybe he's just a little bit more leaner.
He's been hit less, so he doesn't think about it going through the hole as much.
Yeah, no, he does.
Running backs do this over time. You'll notice they get more patient and they get that Le'Veon Bell style, which is what Saquon has assumed as of this year, where he's waiting for the big run to pop. Unfortunately, that's just not how the position is played. And that's why Tank looked more efficient yesterday, is because he just shot the gap. Where there was a gap, he got skinny through the hole.
Yeah.
And he shot the gap.
He kind of reminds me body wise of Buckhalter. He doesn't run as high. Buckhalter was a high runner. He ran straight up. But
Tank reminds me a lot of Trey Sermon, who didn't work out in the league. But he's very tall, and just like you said, kind of Tank looks like he's gotten better this year at getting low, though, because he was a very tall stand-up rusher. He's gotten a lot better at getting low, and it seems to navigate the holes pretty well. It was one game. He had 9 rushes. He had the one big run that was about 29 yards for the first down that nobody saw coming, but he got it. I think the second effort by Tank has been great. The one question with him joining the football team has been turnovers, and he's been a pretty bad guy with fumbling the football. And if you noticed, he's already had a couple whiffs on kickoff, so he's not even on kickoff anymore. They've moved him to primary RB2.
Well, I'm okay with that, because sometimes
the way that they're kicking the ball now is not the same. Yeah, the way that they're kicking the ball is not the same. He really struggled in the Rams games with those little.
Didn't Shipley take one? No, Shipley got caught. No, that was the run.
No, Shipley had one about to the 47 this week.
Did Shipley has Shipley returned one for a touchdown yet?
No, we haven't had that.
You haven't had that yet. Okay.
Shipley played well. Gibson has been the returner that I touched on last week.
For the punt returns.
And kick return. He's the other kick returner. So Shipley are on kick return now, and he's on punt return.
Yeah.
He actually got a toss. Only went 3 yards, but he had an offensive snap this week. So
who, Ship?
Xavier Gibson.
Oh, Gibson. Okay.
Yeah, would be the 5th wide receiver, 6th with AJ back.
Where are you? What's your second takeaway? Are we?
Yeah, we're pretty in line. We're pretty in line here. We touched on a couple things here. I would just say I want to use my second point to just kind of be like the physicality of this team felt there. They felt more physically imposing in a game where they got bullied by this team less than 17 days ago. And I think that the way that they did that was new to the season. It wasn't quite new to the team because they've done this over the years, but with the personnel they had, this is the first time they were able to figure it out with that personnel. And I think that because they've done it with the personnel that's in front of them, that it's more, you can replicate it easier. You know, it's now there's teach tape of, we're not showing you what we did last season with Mekhi Becton. We're showing you what we did this year with Brett Toth and Tyler Steen. So it's clearly not a personnel problem. It is an execution problem with the right personnel in place. Right. And I think that's kind of what we were talking about earlier with the Dean and Campbell stuff. You know, this is, it just comes to the right guy being in the right place. And if Campbell has to play the edge, Campbell has to play off ball on certain snaps, whatever, you know, I think he's more than fit to do whatever the team needs. And I think that the Swiss Army effect of our young guys, Carter, Dean, Campbell, Davis, we could talk about DeJean and Mitchell too. DeJean has really put his nose into this playbook, and he is playing just so cerebral this year. Like, it is what he does to this team and what he means for this defense. I would say he's one of the most important players out there. I really believe that. I think that DeJean is almost more important than Mitchell, even though I think Mitchell is a higher ceiling player. I think because just how important the nickel is to this defense. And even when they go base, his responsibility as an outside corner, his communication with the safeties is just, it's elite, man. He is, his play against Justin Jefferson last week on the backdoor fade where he handled the man-to-man coverage and was able to get the ball out. I don't think that was like a flash moment for him. I do think DeJean is that good. And I think that he is that important to this defense.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. For me, the third takeaway, I mean, we got to go to QB1, right? Have to. You know, it wasn't the crazy output, but I mean, this is what we expect of Jalen Hurts, seeing what we know of Jalen Hurts, right? We saw the big arm, we saw he can pass, perfect passing rating. And then you get back to what he does best, and that's being goddamn efficient, right? Right now, 17 game projection. He's on pace for almost 3,600 yards, 32 touchdowns, 2 picks. I think the picks will be a little bit more than that. 4,400 rushing yards, 440 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, 70% completion, and 114.4 passing rating. MVP Hurts is getting louder and louder. Unfortunately, it's not going anywhere. When it comes to his numbers stacked up against everybody else, but I'll give him his flowers while we're still here. Right now, through 8 games, he has a recording 20 total touchdowns, which is tops in the league, including 15 passing, 5 rushing. We talked about his performance in terms of a completion rate, over 70% completion rates, which is phenomenal. 1,600 passing yards. Trying to think what else in here. And then over the last 2 weeks, 500 passing yards and 7 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, you can't just ask for anything else. And then breaking records too, right? Not breaking records, breaking his own records. His 100th career passing touchdown last game, 100 for QB1. I got to just give him his respect and give him where it's due with Jalen Hurts. It starts with the quarterback. It ends with the quarterback. I'm a big believer in that. And I think that his numbers are good for him. And I think he's having a very, 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 very good year. It's just not an elite number year-wise where we're talking about MVP. Even though they're winning and he's a part of the conversation as MVP, he's just not in the top 3 in MVP. And I think you touched on one of the guys that are in that conversation, and that's Drake May. He doesn't, his numbers, his importance to the team is, I think MVP is a statistical award for the most part.
It is, or else, Russell Westbrook would have won it for the Thunder like 5 years in a row. Yeah. It's a stat award.
It is.
That I think in the league is also outweighed by position. Whereas quarterbacks are always going to get the love. I think right now in the league, Baker Mayfield is the no doubt MVP as of today. Now, obviously, that could change. Can never count out Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes is always up there, but what Mayfield is on track to do passing, which funny enough would be like his third year in a row of doing this. I mean, he has led the league in passing every year for like the past 2 or 3 years. And if he does it for the third or fourth year in a row, I mean, it becomes inevitable. The problem is Jalen Hurts' stat production is never inevitable. He is just getting by. You know what I mean? He just 15 for 20. He can do what he did. He threw 4 touchdown passes. He's not up there for the, passing. What is it? They call it the NFL, air rate of the week or whatever, where you can get it to a receiver or a quarterback. Yeah. He's never going to be that guy.
No, he's not.
He doesn't have to be that guy.
He doesn't.
Because the way the team is set up, he doesn't have to be that guy. And they can be successful without him being that guy. That doesn't discredit him for what he's done these past 2 games. He is playing elite football.
Yeah.
And when Tom Brady was talking to him post-game, giving him, the LFG player of the game,
yep,
Hurts made the comment, everybody seems to think there's dysfunction going on out there. But, Brady, who has heard that for years about, why are you worried about October, November football? This is the NFL. We're a good football team. We're figuring shit out until we get to December. That's when things really matter.
Yep.
And he simply responds with, I love it. I love hearing it. And I think that he is genuinely fueled by that criticism. I also think there's a part of him that at this point, with the whole drama in the locker room, he wants to prove that he's more of a cog than it's perceived to be. And I think that he's showing what us internally in this market's media understand, that, yes, he's the guy. We can give him a hard time when he loses and say, oh, he'll never be Patrick Mahomes, blah, 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 blah. You can't take his wins away. You can't take his ring away. You can't take his Super Bowl MVP away. And you can't take this game against the Vikings or the Giants away from him. I mean, he played outstanding football. But as you pointed to earlier, he played perfect quarterback play. Did he turn the ball over? No.
Nope.
Did he fumble the ball? Did he throw a pick? No. Did he fumble the ball? No.
Nope.
Did he put the ball in errant positions? No. He didn't. Did he make questionable throws down the field? We were talking about Carson Wentz off air before the show. Did he make any of those downfield throws? Were there any punts? Were there any, what they call them, air punts or whatever? No.
No.
I mean, this was clean, efficient football being played by QB1 when you're down your number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
And they got the running game and the passing game working. He threw for 4 touchdowns while we ran for the most yards that any team has ran for this year in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, I just don't, when they work like this, I just don't see an argument against them.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's getting louder, right? It's just like, and then they do the whole Josh Allen comparison and all this. Well, Josh Allen's really not in the conversation at this point for MVP. So, it's just different. Like, I mean, my tops would be Mahomes, 2 would probably be Drake, and then 3 as a dark horse would be Daniel Jones, because what he's doing in the Colts.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is the popularity contest at the end of the day, and Drake May and Daniel Jones don't sell enough jerseys, so they're not there yet. Jonathan Taylor also plays running back. He would definitely be number 2. So I think it comes down to Mahomes versus Baker. Depending on the way either team's season finishes, I just see Baker's numbers, even with the wide receiver injuries. I mean, if he finds a way to throw for 4-something thousand yards again and like 40 touchdowns, 5 picks, you know what I mean? I mean, the dude just –
and you're not lying about, we're 8 games in.
Yeah.
8 games in. And I mean, the way, Taylor's running, he's got 12 touchdowns.
Well, yeah, Taylor's playing better than Barkley did last year. I mean, they're on that trajectory. Can't say Shane Steichen wasn't watching Eagles tape last year, because they're exactly the same. Their offense is identical.
Facts. Well, another thing that take away from that game was, I think, something that, people saw, whether you're an Eagles fan, football fan, or just, a Giants fan. I think we came away with even more, I want to say, conviction that the death of the Tush push will be happening next year. And we're talking about the play where Thibodeau took the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hand during the Tush
progress, they say. Forward progress.
And what's coming out of this, and we've seen it week after week, and I don't know if the refs are doing it on purpose because they want to get rid of the play or not, but they're having trouble officiating this play for whatever reason. When they're doing the tush push, they because the pile's moving a little bit, they get going, but as soon as somebody tries to rip the ball out after he puts it ahead, it's a dead play because the whistle was blown.
Did you notice how late the whistle was for the rest of the game? It was so shitty, dude. Like so years ago, it was last year actually. Remember when Devontae Smith was hit late from the Saints defensive lineman, came through and destroyed him for no reason? I mean, the whistle should have been blown.
Yeah.
There's that. And then you have what happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
At what point are Eagles fans going to admit that they are good enough to have the benefit of the referees? Because if you think that that game was called evenly yesterday, I can't talk to you anymore. Because it was not. I mean, the offensive passing interference against Darius Slayton was ridiculous. They were hand fighting the entire way down. Slayton cleanly gets away on a play where he's pushing, Mitchell's pushing. He just got the best of him at the last second. That's a touchdown.
Yep.
The Darius Cooper passing interference, that was awful. So what is passing interference? Those are just two plays. The play where Hurts, the ball comes out, Thibodeau stripped the ball out.
Yeah, he did. It was a fumble. Yeah.
Broke the rules and extended the football in a case where the ball is not protected while extended. At the goal line, the ball is protected.
Yeah. Yep.
You can hold it out, smack it out, doesn't matter.
Yep.
But in the field, that ball is live. That is a turnover.
Yeah.
They didn't give it to him. And then Brian Daboll didn't help his case by then challenging the spot of the ball because they told him that the play was unchallengeable.
Yeah, I never seen somebody so hot. Man, he went red real quick.
You're looking at a guy that knows his seats. They have their future in place. Yeah. And I'll remind everybody how the NFL works. It's not who's the best, it's who's next. And they have their core of people that they're happy with, and they're going to figure out the rest.
Yeah. They'll get a top 8 draft pick probably.
I mean, even if they're top 10, top 15, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a new GM and a new head coach, I would have to assume.
You think that he's done?
I do not see a situation in which Dart and now Scottaboo out for the year save his job. I just don't think
That's interesting.
Daboll's not an easy guy to get along with, man.
I'm not saying he's not, but I think you got to see it all together. I think you got to see Neighbors, Scottaboo, and Dart.
That's fine. There's going to be a lot better head coaches, especially if Sarkisian's name comes into the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, would you rather have the Titans job or the Giants job? You're going to take the Giants job all day. Yeah. So I think that their idea that they're going to have so much young talent to offer to a new head coach with new ideas and a new GM that's willing to work with that head coach, you get where I'm going with this. They're going to
I hear you. I think they're going
to opt in to reset contractually with their staff to align with the roster. So with Neighbors, Scottaboo coming back, Dart's going to be in the second year of his rookie contract. Abdul Carter, they have Bryant Burns. They can move Kayvon Thibodeau for some draft capital if they want to. You know what I mean? They have a lot of options ahead of them that don't mean that they have to retain what they have. So the Giants are actually in a position where I think that they have some of the brightest future in the NFC East out of all the teams.
Oh,
I think Dallas has a lot of bookkeeping to do at the end of the year. The Commanders were the oldest team going in the league. We're seeing it. They're dealing with injuries left and right. I still think they're a feisty football team. Until they can keep Jaden upright, they're not going to be a problem.
Yeah. Speaking of that, game's tied up. Tie ball game.
Yeah, spicy ass game. But I just think that history's bound to repeat itself, and I think we are in the era of the early 2000s in the NFC again. I think that Dallas is fighting with themselves post an era of success, whether that be Super Bowls or not. I think that they're fighting with themselves. I think that the Giants are just stumbling into a lot of really good young players, and I think that eventually it's going to culminate for them to have a successful football team. And I think Washington is in a position where they have enough competence up top that they're going to be feisty for years to come with a franchise quarterback. And I think the Eagles are Donovan McNabb 2.0. I mean, you can't tell me that this run is not similar to what they did in 2001 to 2005.
It's close, but it's better.
It's much better. It is the best run that they've been on since 47 through 50. So it's the best run, but the most comparable run in the team's history is right there. And I think that the time that the NFC East was in then is very comparable to where we are now. Look at the Giants' defensive line, dude. I mean, and then look at where they were then. It's almost 1-for-1. I mean, you're talking about Lawrence.
You're talking about the Strahan OC combo, right?
Yeah. And then the Eli Manning. And you can't tell me, I mean, Dart is not a guy that I hate. I don't dislike him, but God, he's annoying. And
how about number 44 with Bradshaw, right?
Yeah.
He's Bradshaw-like.
I mean, Neighbors, you could go back to, whether it's Cruz who was dominating them. I mean, they really had Mario Manningham was a terrible X to play against back in the day. Or excuse me, not Mario Manningham. That was Michigan. Hakeem Nicks actually was their wide receiver out of North Carolina.
Oh, no, North Carolina.
Yeah. He was a dog there at the end, man. I mean, they had Plaxico Burress. I mean, they just had they had some boys. So I think
it's funny you say that. I think that's where they go in the draft. I think they get another receiver. They start to build out that offense for Dart.
Well, yeah, it's about time Darius Slayton plays somewhere else. The Jalen Hyatt experience is over. They're just gonna. They're going to shift, but I think the Giants shift in a positive direction next year.
Yeah, I do too.
I think they're a 6 to 9 win team next year is a lock as we stand today. I think they win 6 to 9 games.
Yeah. Dart had some dots there,
Dude, he's the real deal.
Yeah, he's definitely the real deal for sure.
I think that he has a more bright future in that offense with Dable. Then I'll just say it. I think he looks better and more confident throwing the football than Caleb Williams does today. Now I don't know if that aligns moving forward. And who would I pick today? I'd still take Caleb, knowing what I know about football. But I'd say it's a hard argument as you stand today. If you brought somebody in and say, watch this guy's tape for this year and watch this guy's tape for this year.
Yeah.
It's a hard argument.
We'll see what Dart looks like when the talent gets better around him, right?
Yeah.
When he's got the players, when he's got the stars.
I think it's
even though I like Scatterboo, and I think he's one of those players on your team that's that's all heart, is a decent player, but he's never going to be a great player.
Oh, geez, he's going to put his body on the line.
Yeah, he's going to put it all on the line.
The way he head tapped and then looked at his own foot and was like, "Oh shit, yeah, no." Dude, Warrior, man. I got to be honest with you. I have nothing but hats off respect for them.
Yeah, he was the heart and soul of that team.
He is. But I can't forget about a guy like Brian Burns or Dexter Lawrence, who has been there through the hard years, and they just seem
those are the vets. But the like you said, the bubbling young group that's coming up, he is the lead dog.
Oh yeah, he is.
He's the lead dog in that younger group.
He is, and hats off to our guy Don.
Oh, did I lose you? We froze on him. So I was gonna say I think he was gonna say hats off to our guy Don, who usually comes on and does our show, but he's not on at the moment. While we get our guy back, we'll rock out with me. You know what I mean? But for the last part of the show, what we want to talk about is looking at the bye week grades, right? The bye week grades that we have coming up here for the Philadelphia Eagles. They're on a bye week this week. And let's look at what the season outlook is, coming up right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think for me, I would give them, I would say a B, want to say B plus. The first couple games of the year were tough. They were tough to really kind of get over. And I think that let's go back a little bit here. We open up good win against Dallas, going to KC, another good win, then had, the Rams. So those 3 games right there were like, damn, and then went to Tampa. But it was the way they won, and we knew with the injuries coming up and the way they were winning, it wasn't sustainable. And then you got what you expected. Quick turnaround for Denver. We lost that. We knew we were going to lose that. And then getting beat up by New York was kind of just not even seen. And then that happens, right? So I think that's, you give almost an A for those first games being 4-0, because 4-0 is 4-0. And then you lose the way you did in those 2, and that brings you down to a C. You bounce back against Carson Wentz and the Minnesota Vikings on the road, and then you go back and punch New York in the face, and that brought you right back to a B/B plus. But you go on a bye week, and then you get another gauntlet. Look at these: at Green Bay, home for Detroit, at Dallas, then home for Chicago, at the Chargers, and then you finish the year off with Washington, Buffalo, and Washington again, kind of sandwich in between there. That is a tough road to go. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 playoff teams out of your last 9 games. So half the games are against playoff teams, and not even legit playoff teams as well. So again, for me, B plus on the season so far. Let's see. I think my guy hit me up. Power went out for Ernie B. Tell my guy I close it out for him. Yeah, so got to go with a B plus. I mean, Hurts looked great at times, looked like an MVP candidate at times, and then other times it's like, But I mean, 6-2, right? 15-1 on the season, 1,600 yards. Decent numbers. Decent numbers. And when you look at the call log, right, we already know what the run game looked like. But, he has some games where he was Jalen Hurts efficient, right? 150 yards, 101 yards, 130 yards. And then he woke up in a couple other games with wins. Losses don't really count that he woke up 280, 283, but he woke up against Minnesota with 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that perfect passing rating. So when you look at that and you take everything into account, the way this defense is starting to come along, the way the tone of the defense is starting to come back, I give this Eagles team a B plus so far, from weeks 1 through 8, in terms of how they would grade out, I believe, through the rest of everybody else in terms of their grading. They would be up there with probably everybody else, but I mean, they're the tops in the NFC. Who would you give an A to? I think New York. I mean, not New York. I think New England. You got to give it A to. Nobody had them as the top in the AFC East. The Colts are an A, 7-1. Nobody saw Daniel Jones coming. And I think those are the only 2 A's I can give out right now. I would give the Colts and the Patriots an A in terms of the first half. Like New England being at 6-2, like at this moment, like come on, man. Like who had that? And nobody had the Colts at 7-1. Right? Nobody had the Colts at 7-1. I mean, probably nobody had KC third in that division, maybe possibly being a wild card at this point. Everybody had us leading the division. I think a lot of people had Green Bay and Detroit where they are. A lot of people had Tampa where they are. NFC West is tough, right? 3 teams, 5-2, 5-2, and 5-3. Nobody had Seattle. I mean, you can make an argument for Seattle, but I say B plus, right? I think that Sam Darnold showed you what he was with my Minnesota, and he's shown it's not a fluke in Seattle. So yeah, from where we stand, I would say B plus for the Philadelphia Eagles in terms of going into the bye week so far from weeks 1 through 8. And my A teams would be, again, the Colts and New England as of right now. So for myself, I'm Moss Money. This is Victory Mondays. We will be off next week. We take off when the Eagles take off. So we will be off next week. We will see you in 2 weeks. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Join, become a Money Team member. Jump on the show with us. Let's have a live conversation about if you like the Eagles, or if not, if you don't like the Eagles, come on and join the show. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks for more Victory Mondays when we take on the Green Bay Packers. Have a good night, everybody.